Well, thank you, and thank you, Laura, and good afternoon again. As Laura said, I'm Ed Barry. I am the Toll Division Director for WashDOT. That's EDBARRY. And so we're here to wrap up a great week with our partnerships with the City of Seattle, Metro, and Northwest Region of WashDOT to talk about some of the things that we observed. So we have a full week of tolling that's behind us, and things are going well. Systems are working well, and we have more and more vehicles using Good to Go. So that's great news. We appreciate everybody who activated their passes and continue to do so. And we like to keep reminding folks that toll rates range between $1 and $2.25 with a Good to Go pass. So now I'm going to switch gears and talk a little bit about traffic. You might remember last week what our expectations were. What we might see when tolling started, and that was between 35 and 50% less cars in the tunnel. And what we're seeing this week, at least on the Tuesday through Thursday portion of the commutes, that we're seeing numbers that are higher than that. But I need to emphasize those are only 3 traffic days of commute this week, and which is not a large sample size, so we'll continue to monitor, of course. So from a higher level, what we're seeing this week is drivers continue to use the tunnel. During peak periods, we're seeing more drivers use the tunnel. And we're seeing anywhere from pre-toll numbers during the peak periods to 25% less than pre-toll volumes during those peak periods. During the off-peak periods, there's less people in the tunnel, similar to pre-tolling. There were less people in the tunnel during the off-peak periods, which makes some sense in that there's less traffic on other routes around the system, so those might be other alternates that people might be using. Other things we observed for Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, again, those commute days, there was somewhere between 25 and 30% fewer vehicles in the tunnel averaged over the entire day. We also saw more northbound 99 travelers using the Dearborn off-ramp throughout the day. The off-ramp southbound at Denny, the volumes were roughly the same as pre-tolling. So those are some high-level things that we saw during Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to continue to monitor into next week. We're going to get some more data, and we're going to see what we see. And we're going to continue, of course, to work with our partners at SDOT and everywhere else to continue the great coordination efforts that we've had this week. So with that, I'll turn it over to Heather Marks.
Thanks, Ed, and thanks everyone for being here. I'm Heather Marks, M-A-R-X. I'm the Director of Downtown Mobility for Seattle's Department of Transportation. So this week was a big challenge in the transportation world. We started tolling. We celebrated the Sounders downtown. We had some incidents and some heavy traffic throughout the week. We really want to thank everyone who flipped their trip, tried a new mode, or shifted the hours that they travel to make it a little bit easier on everyone else. Like Ed said, it's a little too early to provide data or to really decide how things are going, but it's clear that many people did what was necessary to keep the system moving, and for that we're really grateful. The biggest changes in traffic that we've seen thus far are higher volumes on Alaskan Way and Elliott. They had about a 20 to 30% increase in cars that is typical depending on time and location, of course. We worked really hard with the Office of the Waterfront to keep Alaskan Way open with 2 lanes in either direction, and we'll continue to do that throughout construction. Other downtown surface streets like 1st and 4th saw pretty typical traffic volumes. Again, these are initial observations. It's too soon to tell, but we're going to keep watching it. We're going to keep making those adjustments in real time to make sure that the system is working as well as it can. Thank you so much for being kind and patient with your fellow travelers. And remember that your commute decision is a community decision. Thanks so much. I think we're going to have questions, and Bart is also here to answer.
Can we go back over some of the numbers, and maybe I had a brain glitch? The increased traffic on Denny and Dearborn exits before hitting the tunnel was what percentage?
I just said there were higher percentages.
Higher, okay.
Higher on
Okay.
the Dearborn off-ramp, and roughly the same on the southbound Denny off-ramp.
Okay. And then you had a 25% peak period down, and then you said overall 25 to 30% over the entire day. Did you have if you back the peak numbers out, did you have a specific trend in terms of non-peak times through the tunnel?
What I said is on average for the whole days of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 25 to 30% fewer cars in the tunnel than pre-tolling. And I should also say that we didn't see large fluctuations on traffic on I-5 either during those 3 days.
You want to describe the peak though, because the peak, it's worth clarifying, I think, the 0 to 25%. When you had a question about peak periods?
So, yeah, I had 20, so the peak times, which I take it is morning and evening, were down 25%.
Not always.
So the peak times, there were times during the peaks during those 3 days where volumes in the tunnel reached pre-tolling,
Okay.
but anywhere between pre-tolling and 25% less during the peaks. The point there is that during the peak hours, there were more volume in the tunnel, and during the non-peak hours, there was less volume in the tunnel.
Right.
So was there a specific time of day when the diversion, the higher number of people not using the tunnel, was the highest? A particular time of, day or night?
That's hard to say. It's too early to say when those peak diversion timeframes might have been. I just described to you what we were seeing over those weekdays. Overall during the day, there's a lot of different things going on in the system, people making different decisions, so it's too early to say where people are going, much less what time people are doing so.
And Ed, I'm sorry, you said those were for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no Friday morning numbers in there?
That's correct, nor the holiday numbers or the weekend numbers.
So you have 3 complete days.
3 complete commute days, that's right.
One thing that is predicted for some of these is a pendulum effect, where people fill the tunnel, then it's busy, fill the other streets, fill the tunnel. Did you see a drop-off in the tunnel today because of yesterday's problems? This morning?
This morning,
Yeah.
we had a pretty typical day today for a Friday in the tunnel. It's hard to say what decisions people were making based on what happened yesterday.
And Mike, we'd have to have a lot more data to start talking about that kind of effect.
Yeah, my data says one bus pass at 8:30, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, so we need, I think we'll be able to start drawing those kinds of conclusions in a year.
And when you talk about a range of 0 to 25% below pre-toll conditions, are you talking about the range of what your 5-minute increments are showing, or is that an average, or what is that?
Those are roughly by the hour,
Hourly increments?
just particular hours that we saw over the days. We can get back to you with more specific volume information that you may want to see.
But some hours were at par with untold conditions?
Some hours, we had points that were par with pre-toll conditions, but other hours, they were some 25% pre-toll conditions during the peak.
Are you seeing a correlation between the level of cost, for example, the 225, and I'm dealing with obviously good to go past prices here versus more of those shoulder prices like $1.50 or $1?
Too soon to tell. Too soon to tell.
Do we know what the good to go activation point is now?
For good to go, for Monday, which is the numbers that we've got, were upwards of 55% for good to go activation in the tunnel, which is great news. But also we had quite a few account holders also in the tunnel on that day as well. So that was great news for us, and up the account holders, people who pay by plate, up to 74%.
Now, this is really
For
going
Monday.
to be may take more time question, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you see as more people, I think in Monday, Tuesday, we were around 35% activation, now we're at 55% activation. Do we think that people went, oh, I didn't activate my card, therefore I'm going to dart off to the thing because that would have been another $2?
Too soon to tell. It's hard to tell what people's decision-making might be. Time will tell, though, as we see our activation levels fluctuate and hopefully rise over the next couple weeks.
Casting forward, how close are SDOT and WashDOT to completing other features such as sidewalk connections around Denny, Borealis, and getting 7th Avenue North out to 4-lane capacity.
Ooh, how uncomfortable. I think that those projects are slated to be done sort of mid-next year. Yeah. The whole program?
The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, but
there-
in terms of the individual components of the program, I don't think we have that.
Well, I thought WashDOT was telling me you would get lanes 3 and 4 open during December, or November, sorry.
We will, I should say, within a few weeks, certainly within a few weeks, we are gonna open up 7 to 2 lanes in each direction.
Yeah,
That's
But
your
it's not
intention.
the final
Yeah.
were there a couple
configuration.
weeks of recent slippage by the contractor?
That's actually earlier than they originally forecast.
No, but you had held out some hope of having it done in November.
It is scheduled to happen in November, but construction, is never sure bet.
So to clarify another stat that Mr. Berry mentioned regarding people with good-to-go passes and/or accounts, so does that mean that basically you had about 25% of people on that Monday for which you have stats who didn't have either, who are going to get bills in the mail?
For Monday?
Yeah.
Correct, roughly.
Can you talk about yesterday's incident in the tunnel?
What would you like to know? Bart is here
Bart?
actually to talk about that, but he talked a lot about that yesterday. Is there any particular question?
You just want to know if how did it work? Were you happy with how it worked?
You want to join?
I can answer that afterwards. I already talked to Carrie yesterday about the same thing. We're good.
Any other tolling related questions?
How quickly does if you go through the tunnel, because I've had a good-to-go account for a long time, but I barely use it. So I went to look to see if I drove through the tunnel yesterday and today, when should those charges start showing up? Because right now, they don't show up.
It depends if you have a pass or a pay-by-plate. So if you have a good-to-go pass, it should be within about a day. If you have a pay-by-plate, then it's a couple of days.
Okay. When do you do the download, like after midnight or something for that day's data?
It should post in,
We can get you
yeah,
that information.
we can check.
I'm just curious, because
Yeah.
we'll start to get calls,
Yeah.
So overall, are you happy with this? Is it, what you were hoping for? It sounds a little bit lower than the apocalyptic, oh my God, 50% diversion could happen numbers at one point.
We think it went well, and, we're very pleased with the partnership that we've had with the city on this, and we're especially pleased with the good-to-go use and good-to-go activation, so we're very pleased about that and hope to see that trend continue to go up.
Remind me about that, the 55% good-to-go rate. How'd that compare with the 520 in ETL startup? Do you know offhand?
I don't know offhand, we can get that.
Oh, the transition to ETAN, how's that coming along? And what's it?
That's still going, we're still pursuing, we've been focused on the 99 Go launch, but that's still going, we're still managing that.
Okay, so we're getting asked about people who resent fronting the $30 ahead of time. So that's,
Yeah, that's an issue, and we hope with the new system comes on, that'll be alleviated, absolutely.
do you know what quarter they'll be ready?
I'm not
Not that
Not that.
far.